time for the bell. How many options will you sell? Fire up your platform, get ready to enter. But first, let's get the mindset centered. Hey, let's go. We're not here to gamble, we're here to trade. We follow the plan, that's how we get paid. Testing, trading, have success. Find what works for you and forget the rest. Stats and probabilities is what we're about. Time to dismiss greed and doubt. Focus on the process, not the money. And the profits will flow like honey. Power Hour Live, let's start the show. Come on, trade hackers, get ready to go. 0-day options, time to make bank. Get locked and loaded, then be ready to plank. Hey!
Hey everyone, welcome to Power Hour Live, Thursday, October 16th. Another wild day in the markets. S&P is currently down 63. NASDAQ down 183. Russell down 60. Dow down 384. Russell is down the most, about 2.3%. Gold and silver both up about a 2.5%, new all-time highs. Notes and bonds green. 10-year yield down 1.7. Oil down 1.25%, natural gas down almost 3%. All the grains finished green. Euro and the pound both up about 1/3% to 0.5%. Bitcoin down almost 3%, back down around 108,000. VIX up 18%, 24.42 is the current spot price. As far as my BICs go, I just did a few this morning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tranches. Had 2 double stops, just shut them down. Made a little bit of money on the puts. I think I'm down about 1,200. But went ahead and paused any new ones. With the VIX spike, my DDBs are paused, so didn't do anything there. Had a red day trading. I just could not get anything going. Down about 43, almost 4,400 on my day trades. Really, I mean, all 4 of the 5 were just small kind of paper cuts, but then my TSM one I let go a little bit too long. That was minus 2,300. So not a good day of day trading. Just could not get on the right side of this market, which has happened a couple days this week to me. This is definitely the worst. And then I did a VRR, bullish VRR, whenever SPX started chopping below yesterday's low. Decided to take a VRR, which I quickly transformed because we got a quick bounce. So this is my initial order. First one I got in for a 10-cent credit and then transformed it for 220 credit. So I've got a minimum profit 460, max 1460 on that, and that'll expire today. So if we expire above 66.30, that would hit max. Oh, and then JP Morgan earnings fly with this flush. It came back down into range, so closed 2 of the 4 for over 100%. It's up even more now, but I'll go ahead and hold those until tomorrow. TSM was bullish. That is down. So that looks like that one will be a loser unless we get a big bounce tomorrow. ASML had a shot at booking a nice profit, but with this downside kind of brought it down. It's still tiny profitable. I'm still going to hold this till tomorrow. And I think that is it for me. Chad, how's your day?
Yeah, not much of a day here. About break-even day trading, and then I had a TLC trade on that was on for probably, I don't remember, 30 minutes or so, 45 minutes, and my P&L was just going all over the place. I'd be up $700-800, and I'd be down $300-400. Then I mean, it was just, and IV was just all over the place, and so I ended up closing it out before that first flush. And I've sat and twiddled my thumbs since.
Not a bad day to twiddle thumbs.
Yeah, I got a phone call from my youngest they had ACT today, but apparently they had a technology issue. So about 10:30 this morning, I had to go. So they were dismissing them. So I had to go pick him up at the school, and he brought two of his football buddies, and that was a distraction. So, and then I had to get him lunch, and it's just one of those things where I was like, not focused on the markets right now. And then I started watching the flush, and I didn't know if it was going to bounce. And it was just all over the place.
Elliot, I think that expired last week. I closed it out. I think it was during power hour for almost max loss. It didn't come down in time for me. So Krish won that battle. Biggest movers today. Still got a handful hanging on to green. MU is up 4.5%. Salesforce up almost 4. Oracle spiked. It's up 3. Celsius is up 2. CoreWeave was up a lot more. It's still up 1.5%. Nvidia's green by a little bit. ASML after earnings, it was up like 6 or 7% at one point. Now it's almost back to even. And on the red side, the weakest of the week would be, oh, come on, toss.
And we're coming down toward lows, so it could get weaker.
RGTI is down 15%. QBTS, a lot of the quantum names are taking it hard. Yeah, S&P now dipping back towards lows. Same with the NASDAQ, Russell. Yeah, Trump scheduled about 22 minutes ago, but no sign of him yet. Got my YouTube stream up to see when he comes on, but nothing yet. New York governor's chatting right now. Let's see. As far as scheduled news, tomorrow, nothing. Got one Fed speaker. That's it on the docket as far as scheduled news. CPI got rerouted to next Friday. Usually these big range days are where I can really make up some good ground on my day trades, but just could not get things going today. NASDAQ kind of chopped around early and then pushed above yesterday's high, and so I was looking for to get long on the kind of the retest of that, and then it just kind of chopped around it, ended up having to cut out of that. Of course, that was the start of the big move down. What else did I do here? Tesla. Tesla. Kind of the same thing. It was chopping around, made a push above pre-market highs. It came back to pre-market highs, started to bounce, and then that was all she wrote there. And then I could see the tides a turning, so I did try to get short Meta after it rejected previous day high and came down, and when it bounced back up to the pre-market highs right in here, I got short and it just kind of chopped around for a good 30 minutes and then looked like it was closing above. So I just cut out right before the drop. So this is just kind of how my day has been. And then my big loser, TSM, I was trying to play this one on a trendline break. TSM had earnings. It kind of broke through that trend line here and then immediately shot up, and I held it for a little bit longer than I should have, so it ended up being a little bit bigger loss. And then, of course, reversed right away and would have been a nice one as well. So that's just kind of the tune of my day. So I just shut it down after that. Just wasn't in sync. You know, sometimes you just have those days you are just not in sync.
In hindsight, I kind of wish I would have left my TLC trade on and played the long puts again.
And then on my VIX, when I got stopped out of my VIX, came down. I think let me double check. Let me see what time I got out of my last one. Yeah, 11:24. I guess with two of them I did catch a little bit there, but I only got I only sold them for $1.15. Yeah, they were not printing like they were the other day for sure, with all the juice already kind of built in. Yeah, so I sold some puts for $1.15, 65 cents, 80 cents, $1.85. Yeah, I didn't get much out of them. $1.55. Well, the problem with the VIX this high now is it'll be so wide that you probably won't have any profit to the upside if you structure it like the back test, but you could always structure it differently to kind of give it a little value on each side. I'm not sure the old back test has performed that well anyway, so maybe just as well to kind of restructure the strikes. Oh yeah, no doubt. Would have killed this week for sure. Wouldn't have qualified Tuesday with the big rip higher, but we had the gap up Wednesday, would have worked. Gap up today would have worked. Monday, probably not. Monday was pretty sideways. Let's see. I haven't checked today. What do we have? Do we have any earnings today? Today is Thursday. We had TSM before the market open. After the closed, IBKR. Yeah, nothing that I would trade. Watson, you're single-handedly propping up their earnings, aren't you? I was actually just thinking that, Elliot. I need to reach out to him. I haven't chatted with him even directly for a while. Well, things have slowed down, Chad, if you want to sell some premium.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Let's see, what are we working with here? $3, get 10, 20, 30, about 40 wide with 30 minutes to go.
It's pretty darn good.
Elliot, you rapid fire Elmos? S&P is kind of chopping right near yesterday's lows. After that flush and bounce yesterday, it sure looked like we were going back to all-time highs, didn't it? We just got swallowed up today. Swallowed up the wick and all. The only thing I have on, Kelvin, is my VRR that I transformed. So that could use a bounce for it to hit max profit. Otherwise, I've got nothing. VIX above 25 at its highs of day. Even with the SPX not at lows of day, VIX is pushing highs of day.
When's the last time it's been that high?
Well, let's see. Probably April. If I had to guess. Yeah, we had a little 25 spike in May on May 23rd. It looks like it quickly got pushed back down, and then before that it was the whole April tariff deal.
We might be at lows of day before too long.
Let's see what a VRR and VXX would look like here. Chris, you talking to my AI? Let's go with something like this. These things are wide, man. Almost untradeable.
Price seems like yesterday's low.
Yeah, there's not very good volume in this VXX here. Oops. Chris is having a conversation with my AI still. Let's see. I don't know if you can get filled on this, but $55.58 call. Yeah, I see the 58 is 26 cents bid by 405 ask. That's just garbage. That's in the monthly cycle too, so it's going to be the best you get. My AI is pretty good at writing songs. Oh yeah, sorry, Elliot. I meant to post about this earlier. So I'm not going to present yet. I'm gonna do it at some point this month. It would be something that I would put on right now, and then for tomorrow morning. But with this extreme skew in the options and volatility, it would end up costing like, I don't know, probably somewhere between $50,000 and $70,000 for a one lot, where it normally would cost $12,000. So, just not a good example here. Yeah, it's definitely going to be something that you have to have a decently sized account anyway. And it's not that you're even taking more risk. It's just that it's taking a crazy amount of buying power. And I mean, frankly, maybe there is more risk than I am aware of. I don't think there is, but I'll give you a quick 5-minute version. I know there's going to be a ton of questions, so I kind of hesitate doing this. But essentially what you're doing is, no, you can't do it on SPY. It's got to be on SPX because we're using the AM cycle. So essentially what I've been doing is buying a deep in the money put calendar. So like if I buy, let's say I bought the 6725 put calendar. So that's the AM options are the front that you're selling, and then the PM options tomorrow are the ones you're buying. It's trading for about $1.30, $2, something like that, which is not a big deal because that's not the issue. The issue is, let's go to that 6725. So what happens with a calendar like this, if you think through it, is at the end of today, when the bell rings today, that's the last time you can trade those AM options, right? So whatever the set price is in the morning, that's what your short put gets set at. That's what it expires at. And then what you're left with is this, you're left with a long put. Well, in this case, 6725 example, that's trading for $108, $110. So you're talking about that's going to use about 10,000 of buying power, just that part. And then, so what you have to do is when the market opens, you can't just close that because TOS still thinks that you have a short option, even though you can't trade it. Until that settlement price comes out, TOS still thinks of that as a short option in your account. So you try to close the long one, it's going to get rejected for margin issues, depending on what size your account is. And so since you can't close it, what I do is I hedge it off with, you can do a couple things. You could buy 2 ES futures, which right now are trading, that would use about 48,000 in buying power if you bought 2 ES futures, or you could buy a deep in the money call. The problem is the deep in the money call that you're going to want to buy is probably around it'll probably be, depending on where it's priced in the morning, each one of those calls is going to cost you 28,000 in buying power. So you could do 48,000 in ES, just buy 2 E-minis, or you could buy a call here for 28,000. Either way, it's 38 to 70,000 in buying power, and you're just holding that until the settlement price comes out, and then you can get rid of it, and you're capturing the difference in that set price that comes out. And there's a whole logic behind why this works, and it's a super high probability trade. The real risk of the trade is if the market, immediately when the market opens, if it shoots higher before you have a chance to hedge off your trade. That's really the only risk that you have in the trade, because nothing, whether the market gaps up or gaps down, that doesn't matter. It's really what price does from where the price ends up settling. And what happens is a lot of times price will settle at a price higher than the actual high of the day. Price doesn't even have to trade there. If you've ever traded those AM options, you know that sometimes that set price can come out that at a price that SPX hasn't even traded at. And I'll go into all the reasoning and logic so you guys understand that. But that's just kind of a super high level overview of kind of of how it works. And it's super high probability, but it only usually uses around a total with what you have on the long put at the open, and then with your hedge, maybe $10,000-$12,000 total for one lot. Whereas we're looking at $50, $60, $70,000, and that, I don't know. I just don't think it's something I want to deal with in this volatility. I've never traded it in this extreme volatility. I've only traded it the last 3 cycles, which have been pretty normal. I would call them quote unquote quote normal. And so I'm gonna pass on this one, and I'm gonna take this time. I'll do more of a full presentation here this month to kind of share exactly how it works. Actually, with Interactive Brokers, I haven't traded on there, but I've actually heard that they actually let you that expired long or the expired short. They actually already count that as settled, even though the set price hasn't come out. So you can actually just sell your put away as opposed to having to hedge it off. Like I said, I've only traded it in toss, but it doesn't, the amount it makes doesn't have anything to do with the volatility. It has to do with where the price settles that morning compared to where SPX price is actually tradable. So the gap up doesn't matter, the gap down doesn't matter, the level of volatility, the level of the VIX doesn't matter. None of that matters. It really just has to do with the program traders and where they're positioned and how much stock they have to buy at the open or how much deltas they have to roll through that expiration is what it has to do with. So yeah, I mean, you can book some pretty significant profits in low volatility, regular volatility. Like I said, I'm not sure about, it's just too expensive in my opinion to do it during this period. So I don't know. I'm going to track it. I'll see kind of where it shakes out tomorrow, but well, when you're buying a put calendar, you're selling a put and you're buying a put, right? So you're selling a put, which is long delta, and so if the settlement, whatever that settlement price is, it marks that short put at whatever that level is, and then you're left with a long put, which is short delta. And so, I mean, the most ideal situation is where you get the settlement price that has, it's above the price where SPX open, and the market immediately drops at the open. Which there is I have figured out there is a tendency for SPX to trade a little bit lower in the morning on these option expiration days. But it's not significant enough to just get short at the open. I've done a lot of testing around it, but there is a tendency, and so that's kind of the best case scenario. But really, your edge in the trade is just the fact that the settlement price a lot of times can settle higher than where SPX actually trades, or just higher there where it opens is really the kind of the delta between those two is kind of where you can book profits. And then if you get a little bit of a quick sell off in the morning right at the open, sometimes you can book even more. But I booked anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 per one lot on the few times that I've traded it, and I've done some extensive kind of back testing going back to 2021 as well. Oh, MOC. Sorry, guys.
P500, a buy side of 2.16 billion. Nasdaq 100, a buy side of 718 million. Dow 30, a buy side of 673 million. Mag 7, a buy side of 750 million.
All right. I could use a little bounce for my VRR. I need above 66.30. 66.27. Can't imagine Mahomes is getting anywhere close yet. Let's just see what the old Mahomes fly is trading for. Let's see, the 25. Yeah, less than $1. SPX still hanging around 26. Up to 29, up to 30. Well, what was that about? A little above 30, heading to 31. Hovering around 29. I'm right there. Just need a little settle above 30. $31, got 5 minutes. $30 butterfly trading for maybe $1.40. Nowhere close to $2. So no Mahomes today. Just need SPX to hold its head up. Keeps bouncing around between 29 and 30. Got about 3.5 minutes. Did get about a 20-point run up there before the MOC was announced. With the 2.1 billion buy. Back down into 27s. Well, dipping back to 25. Trump Daddy on the mic yet? Oh, he is. What's he talking about? Fertility care will be more affordable. Meanwhile, the SPX back down to 22. Just went from max profit to minimum profit on that 5-minute candle. Still got 2 minutes. Need to bounce back up. I'm going to say 66.28. Anything above 25 is better than minimum profit. A little over 30 seconds. Up to 27. Let's get a little push. Let's get a little momentum into the close. There's 28, 29. Keep going. Keep going. Let's get a 31 print. 3 seconds.
Order cancelled.
Oh. 66.29.08. 66.29.08. So it looks like I'll make about 1,200-ish. Better than minimum, not as good as maximum. That's right. All right, all. That's a wrap for today. Tomorrow's Friday, last trading day of the week. Let's finish strong, manage thy risk, and we'll chat with you guys tomorrow. Cheers.